Welcome to the I Give Life to Life podcast with Coach Enrgy, the single parent's life coach. This is where I'll share valuable content on all matters of the heart and various life issues that single dads and single moms face, such as divorces, relationships, dating a single parent, effective communication, co parenting, that work life balance, time management that we all could use, and so much more. Each week, I'll have guests to join me. And this week, I do have a special guest with me right now, Miss Althea Richardson. If you can, please introduce yourself to the listeners.
Thank you so much, Enrgy. Again, as she said, my name is Althea Richardson. I am the CEO and founder of WOVE, which stands for Women of Vision and Excellence. And my mission is to inspire, encourage, and uplift women to becoming all that they were predestined to be. And it starts with restoration. I reside at this time in Houston, Texas. I have two teenagers at home, ages 17 and 16. I have been in ministry for well over 25 years. But before that all started, of course, I had to go through some things in life before I could actually get to the point of being able to be a help to other people. In my life, and just briefly in my life, I have experienced molestation, divorce, domestic violence, have experienced abortion, rape, and most recently was the loss of my best friend and husband of 18 years, Ben Richardson II. I was a first lady. I actually put that down aside because when my heart was when he left, when my husband left, of course, and being a pastor, my heart for wanting to be a part of the leadership of a church wasn't there. And I didn't want to hinder any of the members and staff from going forward in the vision that God had given him. So I basically passed the mantle on to another senior pastor who is now over Unity Ministries Global, which is the name of our ministry, and have been commissioned to go forward in helping women the way that God had given it to me before I even met my husband. So Wove Inspiration was birthed out of pain, hurt, bitterness, desperation, and all of that. So anything that people share with me, any women that come across my path who share information with me, there is nothing that they can tell me that I have not been through. I always tell people that I'm been there, done that, got a t-shirt, a hat, and a bag of chips to go with it. And I can definitely tell you that even through the midst of the storm and rain that you go through as a single parent, as a single person, as a divorced woman or man, you can go forward in life in anything that God has for you, because everybody has a purpose in this world. So that is my introduction, and yeah.
Wow, and you ended, on such an awesome note. I'm almost tempted to say, well, folks, that's it.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you said a mouthful. You said a lot of inspirational things just in giving us your introduction, which is awesome. So I am so excited to hear what's going to come out in tonight's episode. So tonight's episode is all about moving forward after losing a loved one. And you definitely did mention that from an 18-year marriage to your husband, Ben Richardson II. Definitely my condolences to your loss. Can you tell us more just about your past, your present, and your future when it comes to moving forward after losing a loved one?
Sure. So let's start, everything should start from ground zero. And when you're dealing with as a because I'm a biblical counselor as well, and so my focus is always getting to the root cause of situations. And so my root cause for things that happened in my life, decisions that I made, crazy relationships that I was in, was due to the fact that I was molested at the age of 5 by a family member. How I discovered what had happened, it was by happen chance, because my mom had went through the same thing that I went through, where an individual had came into the bedroom, and when I was asleep, he was, doing things that he shouldn't be doing with a child. And so later on in life, I was trying to figure out, why I feel the way that I do, why I was so desperate to have love from individuals. And as a teenager, I was very promiscuous. I was looking for love in all the wrong places, and I found myself doing things that no teenager should be doing. And at the same time, I was still like in this desperate mode, looking for something. And that usually, when someone does that, that's because of something that was taken away from them when they were younger. For a lot of women who have gone through child sexual abuse, the outcome usually ends up being either far to the left, where they don't want to be with any guy and no kind of relationship, or far to the right, where they want to be with anybody and everybody, or whoever that they want to get that love that they're so desperately looking for, that true love or whatever. So I was the far to the right person, where I just, whoever liked me, I would do whatever I thought was best to make the relationship work. And that traveled along with me throughout my years, all the way up to I would say my 30s. Relationship after relationship, just crappy, just horrible. And I'm actually a part of a book team. And the name of the book it's called I Am a Black Woman, Next Level. And then this book is a team of queens that have written their story about their past, and all of the obstacles that they experienced in their life. And part of mine is that, and this is my first time writing, I had poured out everything into this story, sharing that I came across a lot of jokers in my life. And when I say jokers, those are individuals, that men who portrayed themselves as being one thing, but because they had a hidden agenda, they were, of course, looking for a lot of other stuff to go along with it, and then they didn't want to pursue anything else going forward. So I had a lot of those type of relationships, in that that would sometimes cause me to make a wrong decision, and even as it pertains to, as I mentioned earlier, decision of aborting a child, or take that back, it was 2 children. And so that's a whole nother topic right there. But this is a part of finding love in all the wrong places, coming across relationships that you think that are going to be one way, and everybody seems to be on the same page. But for me, it was always a hidden agenda from the other guy, versus, but I would always be the one that was the giver. So going forward, it got to a point where I had to say, okay, enough is enough. This has got to stop. I'm endangering myself, of course, and I am giving myself away to all these different people, but there's no return whatsoever, and I'm still feeling empty and lonely. And so eventually, after I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, I gave myself to Christ. I gave my life unto God and tried to the best of my ability to live the lifestyle of a Christian. Of course, when you still have residue in your past and you still haven't quite gotten to that level of knowing who you are and whose you are, you still make mistakes in different relationships. But what makes it different is that you know where your help comes from, and you know the source that you can go to find answers to those questions that you've longed to have answered. And I was married previously, so that's the divorce part. I was married to an individual, technically married by the state, according to the state, for 2 years. But relationship-wise, I was only married about 6 months because this individual, my ex-husband, was a crack addict. And I did not see him very often. So needless to say, our relationship was extremely rocky. I thought I had a handle on the marriage as I continued to support him to the best of my ability. I prayed and cried and prayed and cried. I would attend the meetings to help him, but what it all came down to was he had to make the decision to want to leave the drugs. Mm-hmm. He had to make the decision to either be with his wife or be with the drugs, and mm-hmm. he continuously chose drugs over his wife. And so even despite everything that he went through, I still wanted to believe that my marriage was going to work, because I serve a God who can make a difference and change people. But the problem is that God also gives people a choice to change. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, he was not on that same page with God. And so I eventually decided reluctantly to go ahead and end the marriage. I didn't want to do that because I felt like, one, I don't want to be a part of a statistic. I don't want to be one of those that gets married and then maybe a couple of months later or whatever, I get divorced. I didn't want to be a part of that. And that was a pattern also in my mom's family, and with my mom and my grandmother. They all married more than once. And I was like, I want to do it one time, mm-hmm. and that's it. I'm done. And we live happily ever after, and let's go forward. But that was not the case. And sometimes in relationships or in a marriage, there's everybody's got to be on the same page, for one thing. And if you're not on the same page and you're not, there's not an opportunity for you guys to try to work things out, it's going to be a problem. And that was what my problem was, is that I tried to fix this man. I tried to do all of the work, but he wasn't doing any of the work to try to get himself help. So I decided to go ahead and end the marriage, and he agreed mutually. One of the things that I can mention about, that I mentioned in the book about my story, is that we happen to have the same last name already.
Oh, wow.
And I tell people straight point blank, no, we were not related at all. We were not related by no stretch of the imagination. We checked, and it just happened that way. But right. God, even still, God, in the midst of that craziness, made sure that when I left that marriage, I still had my name, and everything is still in my name because my last name didn't change. And he had nothing anyway, so I wasn't losing anything. So going forward, after going into the courthouse, and the judge basically says, okay, you're done. It's reasonable that you guys go ahead and go your separate ways. when I walked out of the courthouse, and my best friend was with me, my heart felt like it was ripped out of my chest. And I thought that I would never, ever, ever want to do this again. And I made up in my mind I wasn't going to go through that again, that I was going to just begin my journey, my new beginning, serving God full force, wholeheartedly, working with other hurting women who may have gone through everything that I've gone through, because at that point, I had the confidence of being able to share my stories and everything with other women. And so that was my mission, that was my goal. But as a believer in Jesus, you can't go based on your own understanding of how things are going to work out, because that was not the case for me. 2 months later, circumstances come about to where I had this desire to want to promote music. I know we had this conversation before where, I love all kinds of music, but I'm a huge fan of hip hop, holy hip hop, gospel hip hop, period, as long as it's the old school.
Yes.
I don't know this other stuff they got going on. But I love gospel hip hop music, and I wanted to promote that. I wanted to at one point be an A&R person, and I was having a conversation with a mutual friend of another friend, and we all my other friend was like, I want to work and do some music and stuff like that too. I want to help promote. And I was like, cool. Well, the mutual friend just happens to hear our conversation, and she's like, hey, why don't you come to this meeting to this guy? He has a production company. He's doing a whole lot of stuff, and I think you would really enjoy it. And I was like, okay, cool. Mindset is ministry. I want to do music and promote music. That is it. I'd rather just have a dog. I don't want to be in no relationship. I'll adopt a child. I'll be happy with that. I'm good.
Right.
So we get to the meeting, and my friend and I, and we're both nervous because we're like, okay, I don't know what this guy's about, but he sounds, from what they were our mutual friend was describing, he was like on point and everything. So I was like, okay, we gotta act like we know what we talking about when we go to his house. So I knock on the door first, and he answers, the owner of the house answers the door, and he just looks at me, and he was like, who are you? I was like, well, I'm here for this your meeting. My friend told me about what you do and everything, and I'm interested in everything. He said, okay, and he just kept looking at me. I'm like, what is going on with this guy? So so we go in, we sit down. It's a pretty nice sized group of people that are in there. We're all sitting around this big table, and we're having a meeting and everything, talking about different things, but he just kept staring at me. I'm like, what is going on with this dude? I'm like, well, see, I didn't want to know because that was not my focus. I'm not trying. In fact, let me tell you this. He was not my type. Not at all. He was not my type. He looked like a pastor.
Wait, what is it? Wait a minute.
See,
what
he
does
looked
a
like,
pastor
he had
look
that
like?
pastor look. I don't know how to describe it, but he looked like a pastor to me. I was like, no, he is not my type, not at all. So we're going on through the night and everything, and he still keeps looking at me with this strange look. And at the time, he said that he was taking care of this older lady, and she came from the back of the house and peeped around the corner, and she kind of motioned to him to come to her, and they exchanged words. He came back, sat down, and he just stared at me again. I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So Long story short, he calls me later on that evening just to check on me to make sure I'm okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, whatever, whatever. And then he invites me over because he wants to hear more about what I'm wanting to do. I'm like, okay, red alert, something's wrong. What is going on? I'm not interested in you at all. I'm focusing on God. That is all I want to do. So it was a cordial conversation when we met and everything, talking about ministry and what I want to do with the music, and that was cool. So I left out. I called my best friend. I don't know why I did that, but called my best friend and told her, I was like, this guy, he just kept staring at me. And these are the exact words that she said. She said, you know that's your husband, right?
Ooh.
Said, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to hang up this phone. I'm done with you because I'm not trying to hear that. I literally just got divorced 2 months prior to this. Why are you telling me this? I'm not trying to hear you on that. So I'm getting ready, for the night and everything, taking a shower, getting myself together, and it as audible as I'm talking to you right now, the Holy Spirit said, that is your husband.
Oh my.
And yeah. And so I'm arguing with God. I'm staying in the shower like, Lord, not trying to hear you, Lord. I'm not trying to hear you. I'm not trying to hear you.
Not today, Jesus.
Not today. Not today. I don't know what this is, but that is not me. That is not for me. I'm not trying to hear you.
Because he looked like a pastor.
He looked like a pastor. He did. He looked like a pastor, for real. I don't know exactly how to describe that, but that's exactly what he looked like. So, needless to say, after, let me see, one month later, and well, let's just say May 2001, we got married. This was 2 months after we had met, and we had been happily married for 18 years. I now am blessed with 5 children. Of course, 3 of them from his previous marriage, but they're all my children. Even though I didn't birth them, they are still my children. They call me mom and everything. And of course, I have 2 teenagers at home by him. And wonderful. I mean, every day was like we were having a date. There was not to say that it was a perfect marriage, but I can literally count on my hands the number of times that we had disagreements, and those disagreements, the agreement and the bliss that we had in our marriage all outweighed our bad days. And so 18 years of marriage. Last year, he was doing a lot of stuff. He was doing a lot of ministry. He was a chaplain. He was a pastor. He did not eat right. He did not exercise the way that he should have. And there was a feeling that I had that was very scary to me, because I'm watching the love of my life, the man that I considered to be my king, the one who was destined for me, my soulmate. I saw him doing things that he should not be doing, eating all this crappy food, not exercising, not drinking water. And if there are any men that listen to this show, I beg of you, please make sure you drink a lot of water. Make sure you drink water, because on October, when he went to the doctor and they tried to take blood from him, they could not take blood from him because his blood was so thick, because he did not drink water.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. November of last year, the night of my birthday, he had not been feeling well. Well, let me go back. On that Saturday, he wasn't feeling well. And the one thing that really bugs me to death is a man that doesn't tell you he's not feeling well. And he acts like everything is okay, and he don't want to go to the doctor, and I have to literally drag it. Look, you're going to the doctor, going to and everything. He didn't want to do that, so I had to make the appointment and just tell him we got a doctor's appointment and we're going, and that was the conversation. And so one Saturday, the Saturday before he had passed, we were training for chaplaincies to work with the police department, and we were doing martial arts. He started having chest pains then. On that morning, God had me put together a playlist of worship music, and he was like, I need you to listen to this music all the way to, because it was about a good 45 minutes where we had to go for our for our martial arts training. And so he was like, listen to this worship music. I'm like, God, what is going on? What is this? What is happening here? And it was a peace as I listened to the music over and over and over again. And that Saturday, he was having, my husband was having chest pains. He didn't want me to know he was having chest pains. Everybody could see that he was not doing well. And apparently he hadn't been doing very well at all from the conversations that I had later on after he had passed, that he wasn't feeling well. But he kept trying to push himself. And on Tuesday was my birthday. We went out and celebrated, but he continuously kept telling us, I'm feeling cold. I'm not feeling well. I know this is your birthday, but can we go home early? We had went out to eat, and I was like, okay. I said, if you're not feeling well by the next day, please, can we go to the hospital? He said, okay. I'll go to the hospital if I'm not feeling well. I just need to go lay down. So the next morning when I got up, the whole thing for us always is that even if we were upset with each other, even if we had a disagreement, we always kiss each other goodbye. And I'll talk to you later. And I would always check in to, see how he's doing and everything. Well, I kissed him goodbye on his forehead. He was still laying down. He was sound asleep. That morning at 11 o'clock, which I always do, I call him. And I called him and he didn't answer. And then I called again and he didn't answer. And then I started to panic. I called my daughter and she went in there and she was the one that found him on the floor in the bathroom.
Wow.
Yeah. It is so important, even as married couples. I don't care what kind of disagreements that you have. You're going to have disagreements. You can agree to disagree, but never leave your house without saying, I love you before you leave. It is so important. Even if he got on my last nerves, even if he had said something real crazy to me and I was so angry, I still, every morning, before I left the house, I would kiss him on his forehead and tell him I love you. And we'd say I love you to each other, and then I go to work because he worked from home. So it's a habit. It was a habit for me to do that. And so I thank my Father in heaven that I continuously did that, because I don't know how I would have felt if I hadn't have done that. And then not having the opportunity, and he passed away that morning. So he passed away on the day after my birthday, November 20th, 2019. And when he had passed away, and I was at work at this time when I had been calling my children, and then my daughter goes in there and she finds him in the bathroom and she's screaming, and I'm at work. I took my purse and I just bolted out door, and they didn't know what was going on, and they just didn't know anything that had happened. I'm going 100 miles an hour down the street, just praying that I would get there before anything. Well, he had already passed away before I even got there. The ambulance was at the house and everything, and it was just chaotic. I didn't want to see him there. And of course, then I got phone calls and from his mom and his sisters. It was just chaotic. But the one thing that came into my spirit was a song that I kept, and I can't think of it right now, but it was a song that kept resonating in my spirit. I screamed at the top of my lungs, Jesus, I give you the glory, honor, and praise no matter what. I give you the praise because you are awesome in our lives and you will get us through this. And I just went into praise. And I know my family thought I was crazy.
No.
Like this lady praising your husband's in the not trying to be grandpa, like your husband's in the bathroom. He's passed away. They trying to figure out how to bring him downstairs because the people from the mortuary were the ones that were coming to pick him up and everything. But as they were doing that, I was in my son's room and I just holding them, and I just said, I will praise you, I will serve you, I will do whatever I need to do, Father God. I will never leave you. I will be always with you, Lord, and I thank you. And it has been peace.
That's
and
it.
I know it sounds crazy to folks, because I know still people ask me, well, how you doing? Are you okay? I'm like, you know what? I have my days, of course. I mean, I'm human. I have my days, but God said that he will give you the peace that surpasses all understanding. And that's what it is. It's that nobody else will be able to understand the peace that he gives me every single day. And my mission is to continuously share the joy that you can have through Jesus Christ and walking in this thing. When trials and tribulations come against you, he is there with you because he said he would never leave you nor forsake you. Single women that may be listening to your show, you will eventually, that king, and that's the key is allow that person to come to you. Do not look for him. Right. He will send him to you. That wife, that men who are listening that you're looking for, he will guide you in the direction that you need to go to find that wife, that one that you are looking for. And those that have experienced divorce, you can pick up and go forward and live your life until, and if you still have the desire to want to be married again, it will be at its appointed time because he will give you the desires of your heart. But the main thing is keep your eyes on Christ. And you will never be disappointed because the steps of a righteous man are ordered by him. Keep him on your face. Keep yourself in his face, and you can't go wrong with that. You just can't.
That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh. You pretty much answered one of the questions that came up that I wanted to ask, which was, what piece of wisdom, sound advice would you offer to both our listeners, the men and the women? And I think you actually just answered that question because that's the ultimate answer there. It's so, going back to what you were saying about peace that surpasses all understanding, that has been the common denominator in my life with everything that I've gone through. Even I myself, when people ask, or they may say, oh, I didn't know this about you, or I never would have thought that you were divorced, or never would have thought that you were abused, or never would have thought that even that whatever. And when they ask, well, how or what do you do, or whatever. My response is always, I have no idea, other than it's just my faith in God. It's
Yeah.
literally just because of that being the constant in my life.
Mm-hmm.
If nothing else, that has been the constant in my life.
Yeah.
And I don't even understand it, but I understand that that is the reason, but I don't understand the reason. I don't know how to explain it. It's just simply I've chosen, because it is a choice, I've chosen to keep God and keep Christ in my life, and to keep them at the front of everything. And anytime that I go through anything, just like when you were describing the moment that you started just screaming to the top of your lungs and you just started
Mm-hmm.
praising, that's what we do as Christians,
Yeah.
and it's like that's our go-to, because
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we're supposed to do. When we are actually allowing things to not, when we allow ourselves to not try to be in control of something, or to not
Right.
try to make something happen within our own might, and we really have no choice but to give it over to God, that's that's all we know how to do, is just praise and just give worship and give God the honor and the glory. And as Christians, we understand that. But when we do that, others, non-believers, or those who may be on the fence,
Mm-hmm.
they don't understand it.
Yeah.
And it's like, but if you just give God a try, then you'll see. If you
Mm-hmm.
just give him a try, then you'll understand.
Yeah. One of
And
the things that people have a hard time understanding, in everything in life there is a process. Whether you believe in God or not, there is still a process that you have to go through to get to what you are trying to achieve or what you want. If you skip any part of the process, it's not going to work. It's just
mhm,
never going to work for you. There's a process even for individuals that, let's say, for example, there's a process for someone who has recently divorced. In my case, I had to fall down and climb myself back up again to work on rebuilding first me, work on having God to fix me, because I was broken. I was torn down. I when you sow into somebody else's life, and then all of a sudden everything that you invested is just like, it's like throwing money out the window, and it just blows away out of the wind. You can't replace that
mhm,
money, or you can't replace that which was given out to that person that you sold into. So you now have to find a way of fixing yourself. Well, you can't really fix yourself if you're broken. The only person that can fix you is God. It's
mhm,
a restoring of your heart first, and even maybe even going deeper than that part. You might have to go deeper in understanding who you are from the beginning. One of the programs that God gave me is called Victory Walk, and it's a combination of biblical counseling and life coaching. Usually, that's not something that's recommended to do, but my feeling on that is that in order for people to be able to determine what their purpose is in this world, there needs to first be a restoration or some work, heart work or surgery done to the heart first, before they can then really go into the purposes that God had predestined them to go into. So I start off with biblical counseling, getting an understanding, helping them to get an understanding of who they are and whose they are, um, dealing with whatever past issues, just going really deep, digging down deep into everything from your childhood to all the way up to this point in time. Once that person has been restored, enough to stand tall and to walk straight, then, and they have the word in them, then let's go to the next level. What is your purpose? What is it that you are so passionate about that you really, if you don't do it, you don't know what you're going to do. You have to do this thing. It's something that it's a burning passion within you. And so once we get to that point and we're working on that purpose and putting things together and establishing a firm foundation now towards working on that purpose. Once the purpose is established, the vision is clear, you're moving forward in that. Now it's time to go to the next level. And the next level is to continue to invest not only in yourself and in the purpose that you're walking in, but you also turn around and pick up someone else and continue the process from there, so that it becomes a cycle of purpose-filled people in this world.
I love it. And you said the name of that program was called Victory Walk?
Victory Walk, yes.
That's awesome. Well, for everyone who's listening, and based off of the description that you just heard, make sure you check that out. Towards the end of this episode, Althea, she'll definitely share her contact information and where she can be found. So we'll make sure that you all can locate that Victory Walk. That is it sounds like the perfect mixture.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
That is awesome. So let's see, you've gone over everything that I can think of that should be asked or that should be discussed and talked about, throughout this conversation tonight. And, I would like to say or ask you, when it comes to people who have a loved one, whether they're married or not, and it can even be just a family member, a father, mother, that type of relationship, family type of situation, what advice would you give to that man or that woman who is dealing with someone who doesn't go to the doctor, who doesn't go get checked out, and they are kind of stubborn in their ways? Any advice to either the person who was stubborn or the people who are in their lives that could possibly help them, feel confident in going?
When it comes to that individual that's stubborn, that doesn't want to go, sometimes you might have to get a team going. You might have to do an intervention, so to speak, because, and you don't want to do it where it's like you're ganging up on the individual, but you're wanting to do it in love. And it's like, we really want you to be here for a long period of time. And I know that it's not uncommon for pastors, unfortunately, to be in that particular situation where they're constantly going, and they're always pouring out to other people, but they some kind of way just don't find the time to pour into themselves and refresh themselves. And so a lot of times you see a lot of overweight pastors that are not very healthy, or men in general that just they going. My husband was also a pastor, a minister, a musician, and so a lot of musicians they do a lot of gigs late at night, and they eat whatever because they're always on the go. Any man that's constantly busy and that's engulfed in wanting to do whatever it is that they're wanting to do, they're so honed in and focused on that, they always not want to eat right. And so sometimes it takes a team of people to say, look, I'm noticing that you're not doing too well. I noticed that you're always tired, and I noticed that you don't drink a whole lot of water. Sometimes it starts with small things. Let me get you on the slide. Let me give you some water. Oh, I noticed you look kind of thirsty. Let me get you some water as opposed to that soda that's sitting over there. Kind of do it on the slide, because at the end of the day, it's all about who you're going to lose if you don't get yourself together. You're going to be in the hospital. If you're a husband or a father, if you're a single father that's taking care of children and you're not eating healthy, then you're messing things up for your children by not taking care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself. Women as well, we bad. We sit around and, especially with COVID now, I'm not even going to lie. I gained a couple of pounds.
Oh my gosh, me too.
Couldn't go anywhere, but you got to make time to get some exercise, to, call up your girlfriend. Hey, let's go somewhere and go walking or somewhere outside. If you can, go take a walk and everything. But again, it takes a team of people, a team of loved ones to surround that person and say, look, we are concerned about you. We love you. We want you to be with us for a long time. Let's take the steps and see what's going on with you. And then we'll go from there and make sure that you letting them know that you will support them every step of the way, because we want you to live a long life. We want you to live a healthy life. We want you to be around us for a very long time. And sometimes there are people that just so stubborn that, they'll do it for a little bit and then they slide right back into that routine. And the only thing that you can do for those people is just continue to support them where they are, because you can't make a grown man or a grown woman do the right thing, because ultimately they make their own choices. And you can, the best thing and the most important thing you can do is continuously pray for that individual to eventually the light bulb come on and say, you know what, I need to change my habits. I need to change all of that, because if I don't, it takes one heart attack for reality to kick in and say, yeah, now I need to change it. You don't want to get to that point.
Right. Exactly. Great advice. And one of the things that you said, it made me think of, if a person doesn't do it for themselves, then do it for your loved ones, do it for your family members. If you don't feel that you are worth it enough to do it for yourself, which, hopefully you do feel that way, then do it for the other people who will be affected, if something were to happen.
Definitely.
Good stuff. Well, I am so appreciative of your time that you have shared with us tonight. Thank you so much for coming on to my podcast and just opening up and expressing and sharing the experiences that you've had, the thoughts that you've had, with everything that you've gone through. I am certain that someone who will listen to this, it will be exactly what they needed to hear. And, like we mentioned earlier, if only one person gets help from it, then, the job has been done, and job well done. So thank you so much. I do have one final question, and I like to ask at the end of my episode, but I had to think of a second one, because the main one that I had used, people kept, outsmarting me. So I came up with another one, and I think it actually suits you. And you're the first person I'm using this question on for the end of my podcast. And you can answer it, with something serious, or you can just really have fun with it. It's totally up to you. So my finale question is, what's your one thing? It's that thing that you use as your motivation or your strength to have gotten through any of your tough situations. Again, it can be something funny, or, it can be something that was serious. But what's your one thing?
I would have to say my one thing, Enrgy, is always been music. There have been days where I'm like, God, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. And I can turn on a worship song or a praise song, and that'll put me in the mode to be able to, like, yes, I'm like Rocky running up the stairs now. I'm ready to go, and conquer the world. Yeah, I'm still dealing with the situation, but allowing the words to minister to my spirit, and giving glory and honor to God is what keeps me going. In addition to my kids, who also motivate me as well. When my daughter sees me having a day, She'll check in, and she does quite often. Mom, you doing okay? Yep, I'm doing all right. You sure? Yep, I'm doing good. So having support from your own family, from my own family, and music is what keeps me motivated and going.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. Thank you. I love it. See, I like that question. So,
Yes, that's a good question. I love it.
thank
Enrgy. Your name is Enrgy, girl. That's what it is. For real.
Thank you. I got that idea. Actually, it's one of the episodes that I recorded last week called it's the same question, what's your one thing? And so I recorded, my own examples and things like that. And I said, you know what? That would be a great question to ask, on the podcast. So I took it from, I just repurposed the content from my own stuff. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Good question. Good question.
Awesome. So this is the moment where I want to give you the floor and just give you some time to talk about what all you have going on. Shout out your business, shout out your website. Let us know where we can find you if you have any upcoming events. Let us know about your podcast. Also, definitely give us the name of your book again that you were a co-author of, your
Yes.
social media platforms, all of that information just to make sure that the listeners can find you.
All right. So let me start off with Wove Inspiration. Wove Inspiration is basically a podcast that is primarily focusing on interviewing individuals. And I was blessed and fortunate to have Coach Enrgy on my show as well. And I interview individuals that are inspiring, encouraging, uplifting as well, who have a story that touches individuals and makes a change in that individual's life as well. So I interview a variety of people, and if you are interested in sharing your story and using your voice, you can email me at woveinspiration@gmail.com. If you are interested in the Victory Walk, you can also just send me a message saying, you know what, I heard you on Coach Enrgy's show and I am interested in your program. Email me at the same email address, woveinspiration@gmail.com. You can also follow me on social media with Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Wove Inspiration. I also have a personal page, which is Althea M. Richardson. No, I think it's Althea Richardson MA. Althea, A-L-T is in Tom, H is in Harry, E is in Edward, A is in Apple, Richardson. On Facebook, and you can listen to the podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or any platform that you listen to podcasts. Let's see, what else am I involved? The book should be coming out. It is called I Am a Black Woman, The Next Level. And the founder of that is, I have to send a shout out to Dr. Carolyn Stevens. She is the visionary for, it is not just a book, it is definitely a movement, and that should be coming out in October. I am also a part of a digital magazine, and it is called Christian Women Living Magazine. It's an online magazine that has talks about health and fitness and family, and my podcast is featured on there as well. I am also a part of another international magazine, which is called Scars of Survival. And again, it is an international magazine that features stories of survivors of domestic violence. I am the individual that does the interviews of some of the writers and guests that are featured in that magazine. So I got a lot of stuff going on. In addition to editing and all of that, I do a lot. But if you are interested in getting in contact with me, the best way to reach me is on my email, woveinspiration@gmail.com.
Fantastic. And I will make sure that I put that in the show notes in the description, just to make sure that people can reach out to you. You have a lot going on, but a lot of those things, someone, no matter where they are in life, no matter what they have going on, I'm sure that they can pull from the many things that you have. So that is awesome. And everyone, make sure you go and support.
Yes, yes, yes.
Awesome sauce. So that's it for this episode. The last thing that I want to say right before we close out, I just want to let everyone know, or at least the women, even if he looks like a pastor, he might be your husband.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So, oh my God. So if you would like to be a guest speaker, or if you want to be a guest and be interviewed on this podcast, please contact me. I am Coach Enrgy. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Coach Enrgy. Enrgy is spelled Nrgy. You can also follow me on YouTube and iTunes at I Give Life to Life. That is the name of this podcast. Or you can just visit my website, which is where you can find everything housed. That is my little hub, CoachNrgy.com. And before you guys go, just make sure that you subscribe, you share, you follow, hit the thumbs up button. Let us know if you like this particular episode, or what specifically did you relate to? What information are you able to share with others from this particular episode? You know how we do it. Get the conversation started below. Go ahead and get your comments going. And as always, remember, keep smiling.